Oi, gente, aqui é o cara da cultura, Lucas Leite. Tô aqui conversando com a Justine Bauer, que fez o filme aqui da mostra Cheiro de Leite Queimado, né? The Smell of Burned Milk. É um filme que eu gostei bastante. Eu acho que ele fala muito sobre uma questão muito tradicional da Alemanha, algo que eu não entendo bastante, por isso que eu quis entrevistar justamente Justine, e aqui a gente vai conversar um pouquinho com ela. Hi, Justine.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And thanks for coming to the channel and doing the interview. I'm very glad. I'm very pleased to have you here. And I will ask you a few questions about the film. What was your idea? So I saw your career, and this is your first feature-length film.
Yeah, it is.
What was the process to get into thinking that picture, into making a feature-length? Because I'm a filmmaker as well, and I do some short films, and I know that's very hard to do a short film, so a feature-length, it's even harder. So could you tell me about your process to making a feature-length film?
Yeah, it all started with a short story, because I'm writing sometimes short stories too. And then I thought it might be a great idea to make a movie out of it. But then it was really hard to figure out, because in the short story, like written, she's always in her mind and so much is going on. But then in the script, I mean, you can't put all the process in the head in the script. And so it was maybe just the hardest part to translate the short story to a script. And I'm not sure, maybe I find short movies even harder to do, because you have to be on point and you can go on length. And so I thought I have a longer story to tell and it can develop well when it's longer, because I worked with non-actors too, and sometimes I feel they develop more personality if they are longer in the frame, because they have the strong faces and stuff, and it's really interesting to watch them longer. Yeah.
Your film, as I was saying in Portuguese to the audience, it's a very traditional film. It's in a way that in Brazil, all that you show in the picture is different in some kind of way. Here we have the agrotechs. I don't know if you heard about it. They are big conglomerates of agriculture. They dominate all the Brazil's territory, and we have a lot of talks about abortion, as you mentioned in the picture, and all of it, and there are riots because of it, and etc. And you portray that as a simple thing. And you portray that as a beautiful thing. All these things, it's not as hard as the reality of Brazil. Can you tell me if it's really like that in there, or if you try to present it in a more beautiful way, you try to portray it as something that is not reality, but something that should be, in your opinion?
I was like, it's a summer, and more a summer of a young girl, and I feel like all the problems in the world are just coming together, and it's even more problems which young people are dealing with now. And in Germany we are having a crisis too with small farms, because they can't earn any money from farming anymore. And so I wanted to do a movie which is showing these problems, but not as a huge big drama, but more like watching it, seeing it, and I think it's still beautiful pictures. But Germans, mostly in the south of Germany, they aren't talking too much. And if they are farmers, they are used to just keep going with life and with working, and nothing can get close to them, because this would mean just to not be able to go on with working. And so I think it's mostly they aren't reacting too much to the problems and ignoring them. Yeah, so it should just have been the summer of the girls and figuring out about life, but still dealing with these problems. But every one of them has their own problems. And I think it's still hard, but probably they are dealing with it in a nicer way. Because they have each other. It's mostly a movie about females sticking together and helping each other and working together.
And another thing about your film, your montage, is quite particular in a way that I, by the end of the movie, I didn't get to know everyone.
Yeah.
There was I didn't know exactly what character you were talking about in certain points, etc. But I felt part of that family, of that nuclear family. Could you tell me how did you come up with those ideas of the montage, of the editing? Because you really, it has a sentimental feeling. All the movie structure has that. And I find it quite particular of your work. That you present those characters, and we don't really know them, but we fell in love with them. And I think that was beautiful. That was the most outstanding point of your movie to me.
Thank you. Yeah, I wait a minute. Could you maybe repeat the question? Just start.
Your montage and editing, really, you really, as a spectator, get to know all that family and really start to talk to them in a kind of way. But you don't really know who is who. And who are you talking about? But you love those people because of the structure of the film.
I wanted to show a big family, and if there is a big family, everyone has his own problems, and it's part of everyone still. If someone has a problem, the other one has to have to deal with it, and so I wanted to show all the mix of the summer, the feelings, and so I felt that because it's told from the view of those people, that it's and they are repeating working all the time, and they are repeating going swimming, and so it's all this summer on repetition. Then they go swim again, working again, and this is maybe why I did the montage like that, just to make the audience feel like they are part of this whole summer working, swimming process, and part of the family maybe too.
And another thing that I find that's why I said to you that your film has a traditional way of doing things of your culture, because I saw it and nothing really there stands to the reality of Brazil. It's very different, very particular of your culture. Another thing that I found extremely beautiful in a kind of way was you showing those cats, showing that story of the murder of cats by the grandmother, and that nowadays is considered in Brazil a horrible act, and we shouldn't talk about that. And you portray it with such without gravity. You don't put any kind of evil in that scene. You portray that something common of that life, but of course something horrible in a kind of way, but you can understand, you can relate to those people, why they do that. Could you tell me if you grown up in that kind of culture, what was like, what were the things that you saw, etc.?
It was a common thing to just kill cats, and maybe I think it's still common somewhere if there are too many. And even if there is a stray cat in the forest, the hunters are allowed to shoot it. And and on farms people do have more. Every day somebody gets born, somebody dies, and so I wanted to show this cruelty, but how people have to deal with it, and they have to be a little bit frozen or not to get it too close to them, because the cows have to be killed in for having meat and stuff, and so it's mostly to be that close to being born and death. It just changes people because, and maybe this is what I wanted to show too, because in our days in the cities, people aren't used to these things, but at the countryside it's still a common thing. Maybe not to kill cats because there are no castrations. This is the positive thing which I wanted to show with the castration then. Yeah. But there are the stories of having to kill the cats. Or even now, if there is a drive over of an animal on the street, you have to call the hunter too, and he doesn't even care if the leg is just broken or if it's fine. You just have to shoot them. Yeah.
It's not common here in Brazil.
Yeah.
That's why I was quite fascinated by your film.
Yeah.
And for one last question, your film talks about the feminine sides of people. I think there are lots of strong female personalities in the film, and portrayed by kids, adults, even old age adults. And I would like to ask you, if you could give, if someone doesn't know your film, doesn't know Mostra, etc., what would you say to those people that don't know your film to watch it, to get the attention that you need to show your film to the world?
Yeah, that's a good question, but hard to pitch it so much. But just I really wanted to show female farmers, which is rare in movies. So maybe if somebody wants to see female farmers, then it's maybe a good movie to watch. But it's about female relationships too, and as I already mentioned, to stick together, to deal with life together, and probably if somebody wants, I try to play with gender roles too, because usually in former years the men have been the strong ones, and in my movie the men are kind of the weaker ones, and this is maybe why I wanted to switch this in this movie in a maybe too obvious way, but still, yeah.
Bom, gente, conversei aqui com Justine Bauer, né? It was an interesting interview. I loved it. I loved the movie also. I watched it, and I was really fascinated by the reality of Germany and how it's different from Brazil. I think this is the point where I love the movie. You can feel the characters, even not getting to know really them, but you also understand a little bit of the German culture. E foi isso, gente. Muito obrigado por assistir. Muito obrigado pela entrevista. E para mais conteúdos do tipo, acesse o Cara da Cultura, canal do YouTube e Instagram. Muito obrigado e tchau.
Thank you.